If you'd paid attention to Miss Lopez's class, we wouldn't have to be doing this.
If you hadn't been trying to rewire your wristwatch so that it vibrated, I could have paid attention. Now the whole Technogeeks team needs the clarification strategies.
Isn't there an easier way than spying on another team? Setting up the camera in the library was pretty tricky.
Shh, here they come. Take notes.
Spy cameras was great. I want to be a spy.
Me too.
Well, well, well. It's the Chocolate Underground team from Miss Lopez's class. Last time you were in here, you left candy wrappers all over the table and a melted candy bar on one of the chairs.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Reed. It won't happen again. We did come in on a Saturday to clean up the whole library.
Well, I guess you've paid your debt to society. Just remember, we have a couple of rules here in the library. Talk quietly and clean up after yourself. And of course, let me know if I can help you with anything.
Sure. Okay, sure.
Okay.
Do not neglect your music. It will be a companion that will sweeten many hours of life for you.
Welcome to the musical side of Thomas Jefferson, an international electronic field trip from the Fairfax Network.
Jefferson was a highly complex individual with depth and a direction. He was a man with a futuristic vision for a new society. Among his diverse interests, there's one fascinating aspect of Jefferson which is not widely known: his love of music.
Jefferson's violin was actually fairly similar to our violins today. If you look at this one, I mean, you know it's a violin. They didn't have chin rests until around 1820. And so when a violinist of the 18th century was holding a violin, he might hold it over here, but he might also hold it over here.
Her lobbying clout was applied sparingly, but very effectively.
I have no doubt that there was some pillow talk about the Highway Beautification Act without any question, but she got into the fray and made some calls to Capitol Hill that I think helped get the legislation passed through both houses of the Congress.
The LadyBird Beautification Act, as it was called, addressed the proliferation of junked cars, trash and billboards that tarnished American highways. It provided for flowers to be planted along the roads, softening the hard edges.
It was very practical because, you know, Lady Bird Johnson is a very practical individual. But when you plant wildflowers in the median strip, you cut down on mowing, you cut down on erosion, and you cut down on watering.
The Committee for a More Beautiful National Capital was composed of many public-spirited friends of Mrs. Johnson who put their wealth, their resources, their time and energy into the meetings, into the enterprises that she sponsored. And they had a dramatic effect on the way Washington looked. It was quite different by 1969 than it had been in 1963.
The group focused on plantings and landscaping in the city's parks and neighborhoods, work that has changed the urban face of Washington.
I always thought in Washington that those people who drove down through Rock Creek Park going to work must arrive in a better frame of mind and more rested and easy in their spirit and ready to face the difficult jobs they had.
In the mid-20th century, the ingenious all-metal Lustron house, named for its lustrous enamel finish, caused a short-lived national sensation. Before the Lustron Corporation went bankrupt in 1950, slightly more than 2,500 of these houses were shipped nationwide.